Today we're going to talk about how to get your tracks to sound much, much fatter. But before we do, let's take a little listen to some of the music I've produced so you can understand better who you're learning from.
The great white shark. The terror begins.
I was always scared to go in the ocean because of sharks, so I made a song about it. Anyways, so today what we're here to talk about is how to get your tracks to sound fatter. This is in response to a comment that I had about the headroom that I have in my tracks, the ones that I play in my YouTube videos, and how it sounds, the sonics of the sound really big, really loud, but the headroom, it's not crushed. And I thought about this question for a few weeks because, like, sometimes as a producer, you do things you don't know why things sound the way they are. You just do things the way you think they sound good. And I think one of the main reasons why the tracks that I've been showing you guys amongst my tutorials sound the way that they sound isn't necessarily just because of the mix, but I think it's because of tape saturation. And I'm going to show you guys what I do, and I do it on the master because the plugin that I like to use, there's something wrong with it where it has a delay problem. If you were to put this one tape saturation plugin on the individual tracks, Scoochamus. Hey, buddy. Hi. Actually, now that Scoochie's here, we could talk about something because you guys are probably wondering why I'm not using the tracks from my videos, and the reason is because they were all on this hard drive right here that was sitting on top of my PlayStation that Scoochie knocked over one time and it destroyed the hard drive. I tried to recover it. It was not recoverable, at least from the companies I went to, and I didn't have it backed up, but I do have the final tracks, which is awesome. So it's actually was a real indicator for me to just move on, start putting out the tracks the way they are and just deal with it the way they are and move on to new songs. The reason why I think that I've been able to achieve what I like to call like similar to Space Laces type headroom and saturation and bigness is because of a plugin that I like to use, and it's called the Ampex ATR 101. I've had this plugin for a really long time. I think the results that this plugin gets really helps me get to where I want to be quicker, and I could put it on the master. Again, there's a problem with the plugin where it will delay the sound. So if you have it on, a few different tracks, those tracks will be delayed probably like 20 milliseconds. It's something stupid like that. So I have this little scratch track here. It's not like a great track or anything like that, but it will do for this example. Let's listen to it before and after the tape saturator on. To me, that's near perfect. When it comes to saturation and bigging up your track, there really is no comparison. This thing is beast. I put it on all my masters. I obviously don't put it on the tracks individually because of the delay compensation problem that we have. This is like just putting it on. I think I've hardly tweaked any of the settings on here. We're not going to do a tutorial on these things. It's basically like low, mid, and high. Like you can click through these and like work it to work with your song better. Up here at the top, you can drive the input harder, and that's where I got the idea from because I used to go to Paramount, and they have these tape simulators, the actual machines there, and they were telling me about how like, oh yeah, you run the audio through there, and you can crank it as loud as you want, like pushing the input in as hard as you want, and it won't destroy the audio. It just sounds warm, and like you get different distortions and cool stuff like that. So that sat with me for like years, and then I'm like, why was my tracks not sounding fire enough? And guys like Skrillex, I mean, Space Laces isn't doing this stuff. His is very compression based. Like if you want to like sound like that, you got to get good at compressing everything very, very well, which isn't hard to do, but you got to just spend a lot of time compressing. But we're talking about saturation. So this plugin to me is the beast. It has depth, richness, width, and air. It has everything you're looking for as far as a tape saturator, and it's perfect for throwing it on your master. I recommend it, though you have to have a UAD unit in order to use it, which is a bummer, but it does have the analog equipment inside the UAD unit to get that analog sound. That's the whole thing. It's supposed to be real analog emulation. And I'm like, well, digital, like dubstep and electronic music, one thing it can use is a little touch of analog because it's so digital and harsh. This thing doesn't sound harsh, and if you listen to my songs, well, you can't really except for in the videos, but when I finally put them out, you could crank those bad boys as loud as you want to, and it doesn't get harsh on your ears. It just sounds good. Like your speakers might, you know, have a hard time eventually if you're cranking it all the way, but it won't be hurtful to your ears, and that's what I like about it. But I have a solution for you guys. Don't worry. I got 2 other tape emulation plugins here. I think are pretty good. I definitely favor the Ozone over the Waves Kramer, I think it's called. Sorry, I can't see. Kramer, yeah. Let's test them out. It's doing a pretty good job. I was going back and forth with it. It's doing a pretty good job. It's got a lot of top end, so I think you would need to work this probably. Yeah, the speed, the tape speed is what has to do with it being like more high endy or low endy. Why don't they have a middle button? It obviously sounds like it needs to be in the middle. Can it go in the middle? No, it can't. So that plug-in. No, I'm just kidding. So in that case, you would probably brighten up the instruments individually where needed, and then you would set it to the slower speed. But I think I definitely was favoring the vintage tape emulator from Ozone more than the Kramer. Let's hear that one. And you can see the speed here. So 30 is going to be faster, and then 7.5 is slower, which is what they got, but they don't have. Okay, theirs doesn't go up to 30. That's why it's only 2 options on the Kramer. It only has this option and that option. It doesn't have this option. I mean, it's probably in here somewhere. I just don't know the plugin that well. But this has got looks like a more user-friendly interface. But I know this one's good. Don't underestimate it because I'm not using it well. I know that one's good. Other people are using it. But if I were to compare to the 3, I'm going to just go through all 3, and you'll see the Ampex one fucking slaps. I can't get it to the same loudness of the other unit. Okay, point being, if you want to get to that level, you just got to invest in yourself. You know, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you guys. Unless you want to spend more time playing with these things, I know that the I can never remember the name. The Ampex slaps. I remember buying it and I was really mad I couldn't put it on individual tracks, and I stopped using it because of that. And I bought another one. But there was something so magical about this that like a year later I was like, I remember that one plugin kicked ass, and it's just sitting in my hard drive. So I started using it again, and it took me to the mountain. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. Stick with me as I make new discoveries and come across things in my own productions that can help you. I'll make a tutorial because I want to share things with you guys that you're not going to learn anywhere else because other people are just doing other things. I'm going to show you things that other people aren't doing. So stay with me. Hopefully this helps. Drop questions, things you have in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. Or if you want me to make tutorials on things,